Please, you have to forgive me. I didn't mean for it to happen.
For weeks, my family had been dropping cryptic hints about my upcoming 50th birthday. "You're gonna remember this one forever," my wife, Heather, would smirk, her lips curling like she had a secret she couldn't wait to unveil. My son Tyler even said, "It's gonna blow your mind, Dad. Just wait." I waited. Like a damn fool, I waited. June 21st, my birthday, was a Friday. I finished work early, declined drinks with the guys, and rushed home. I even picked up wine. Heather loves the cheap red one with the stupid bird on the label. I walked into the house expecting balloons, laughter, maybe a surprise dinner. But the house was quiet. Dead quiet. No music. No streamers. No candles. Just the distant hum of the refrigerator and the weight of silence pressing against my chest. "Heather." I called out. "Tyler?" "Maddie?" Nothing. I checked the kitchen. Empty. Living room? Nothing. Our bedroom? The bed was made. Her closet door hung open, and it hit me. The red sundress she hadn't worn in months gone. The strappy sandals, too. Her beach bag. Sunscreen. My heart gave a strange lurch. Maybe it was a decoy. Maybe they were hiding. Maybe. I checked the garage. Her car was gone. No note. No voicemail. No happy birthday. Just nothing. I stood in the center of the living room with a bottle of wine in one hand and the pit of confusion clawing at my stomach. I sat down, poured myself a glass, and stared at the wall, listening to the empty echoes of the house that used to feel like a home. Out of instinct, I opened Instagram. First post on my feed, a picture from my son, Tyler. It was a group shot. Heather, my 2 kids, her parents, all of them, on a sunny beach, palm trees, cocktails, laughter. Caption: "He won't even notice we're gone, LOL." The glass slipped from my hand and shattered on the floor. At first, I didn't move. I just stared at that damn photo. Heather had her arms around my daughter and her mother. Everyone looked carefree, happy, sun-kissed. My wife's smile, I knew that smile. It wasn't for me. She was wearing that red sundress. The one she only pulled out when she wanted attention. Her hair was down. Her hand rested on someone's arm, but cropped out of frame. Who the hell took the picture? I checked the comments. Her sister commented, "Glad you guys made it. Tell her he looks hot, fire, fire, fire." R? Who the hell was R? I scrolled more. Tyler had tagged the location, Ocean Pines Beach Resort, 4 hours away. She left. With my kids. With her parents. On my birthday. Without a single word. Not even a "we'll be back soon." Just a post. And everyone in the photo looked like this was the most normal thing in the world. Like I was never even part of the plan. I didn't text. I didn't call. Not yet. I just sat there in that empty house and let it all bleed in. The betrayal wasn't loud. It wasn't cinematic. It was silent. Cold. Measured. 3 hours passed. Then 6. Then 12. Still no message. But the next morning? That's when it began. My WhatsApp dinged. Then again. And again. Within 5 minutes, I had 47 messages. All from Heather. "Babe, please answer. You're scaring me. It's not what it looks like. Please, can we talk?" I didn't mean for it to be like this. I didn't reply. I just read. Every word. Every lie. Every pathetic excuse lined up like soldiers before a firing squad. I opened the last one. It was a voice note. Her voice was shaking. "Mark, please don't do anything stupid. Just let me explain. I didn't mean for it to get this far. I was going to tell you, I swear. Just come down here. We'll talk. You deserve to know the truth." I put my phone down. That's when I knew. There was someone else. And this trip? This beach? This whole, "Wait, something big is coming"? It wasn't a celebration. It was a goodbye. And I was about to crash their little vacation like a hurricane. I didn't pack a bag. Didn't shave. Didn't change. I threw on yesterday's shirt, grabbed my keys, and got in the car. The wine stain was still wet on my jeans. I didn't care. I wasn't going there to look presentable. I was going for the truth. For hours on the road. For hours to feel everything: confusion, rage, heartbreak. Then numb. Then all over again. Heather stopped texting after the 47th message. But I kept checking, like some part of me wanted her to say something that would make this make sense. I didn't want to fight. I wanted to rewind time. To last week, last year, before I saw the cracks. The long showers. The sudden gym interest. The locked phone. God, how stupid I'd been. The Ocean Pines Beach Resort rose like a postcard from the highway. White buildings, blue awnings, palm trees swaying like everything was fine. I parked and walked straight through the lobby. "Sir, are you?" I didn't stop. I didn't blink. Room 306. I found it fast. Tyler's photo had shown the number on the keycard he was holding up, probably not even thinking. Just another careless detail they'd overlooked while laughing behind my back. I knocked once. Twice. Then I slid the keycard I had taken from home. Heather kept backups in her jewelry drawer, one of her OCD habits I'd always found cute. The door opened. The first thing I saw was her foot, dangling off the bed, painted toes, silver anklet. She was lying on the covers, giggling, phone in hand. And then he walked out of the bathroom. Shirtless. Tan. Younger. Abs. My replacement. "Oh my God, Mark?" Heather jumped off the bed like she'd seen a ghost. I just stared at her. "You packed the red dress," I said. "Didn't think I'd notice?" "Wait. This isn't what you think," she blurted out, like she had a script ready. The guy didn't even try to cover up. He grabbed his phone, scoffed, and walked past me like I was the maid. "Guess the party's over," he muttered, smirking. I didn't move. I looked at her. Really looked. She was flushed, makeup smeared, no shame in her eyes. Just irritation. Like I was the problem for showing up. "You left me," I said. "On my birthday." Heather rolled her eyes. "Oh, stop being dramatic. I was going to tell you." "When?" "After your beach honeymoon with Chad Light." His name, apparently, was Ryan. Corporate trainer. Met at her gym. Just talking at first. Then emotional support. Then the late night workouts. The slippery slope to betrayal. She sat on the edge of the bed like this was a couples therapy session. "Mark, I needed something more." "You don't get it. I've been unhappy for years. You never saw me." I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was pathetic. "You've been unhappy? You planned a surprise vacation on my birthday and forgot to invite your husband." She folded her arms. "You're always the victim. That's your problem. You make everything about you." That's when it hit me. She didn't regret it. Not one damn bit. She wasn't apologizing. She was justifying. I should have screamed, punched the wall, cursed her name. Instead, I said, "I want you to go downstairs. Call the kids. Tell them the truth. Now." Heather blinked. "What?" "You heard me. You're going to tell Tyler and Maddie that you ditched their father for this clown and lied about everything." She hesitated. "I'll talk to them. But not like this. You're being unreasonable." Unreasonable. She thought I was being unreasonable. I took a step closer. "You don't get to control the story anymore, Heather." She picked up her phone and stared at the screen like it would save her. Then she said, "Get out, Mark. You're embarrassing yourself." I smiled. A slow, bitter smile. "Don't worry," I said. "I'll leave. But I'm not walking away." I turned and walked out of that room. Out of that hotel. Out of whatever fantasy she had built. And the moment that door closed behind me, the moment I stepped back into the hot afternoon sun, I felt something shift. The storm wasn't over. It was just beginning. I didn't drive back home. I couldn't. Not yet. Instead, I sat on a splintered bench facing the ocean, watching waves crash against the rocks with the same fury I felt inside. The sun burned against my skin, but I didn't care. I needed it. The sting, the reality, the proof I was still alive and not lost inside whatever twisted dream my life had become. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, laughing in that sundress, his arm around her waist. My family smiling without me. I kept checking my phone, not because I was expecting her to say sorry, but because I knew she'd start damage control. And I was right. New message from Heather. "Mark, don't talk to the kids yet. Please. Let's sit down first. It's complicated." Complicated. That's what they all say when the lie gets too tangled to explain. The kids. God, the kids. They were the worst part of this. Tyler was 22. Maddie just turned 17. I raised them like my own flesh, bled for them, broke my back for them, did every stupid holiday photo and graduation speech, and they left with her. No questions. No call. What had she told them? That I was busy? That I didn't want to come? That I was okay being alone on my birthday while they sipped margaritas and played Happy Family without the father? I opened Tyler's Instagram again. There was a new story. It was just 10 seconds, him playing volleyball on the beach. Background chatter. Laughter. A woman's voice calling his name. Heather's voice. And then Orion. He stepped into the frame, shirtless again, joking with Tyler like they were buddies. Like he'd been introduced. Like this wasn't new. That's when my stomach dropped. She'd brought him into their lives. Before I ever knew his name. I clenched my fists so hard I felt my nails bite into my palms. I needed to know how far this rot had spread. So I called my brother, Jason. He picked up on the second ring. Happy birthday, bro. Hey, I was trying to reach you yesterday, but Jason, I cut him off. Did you know? He went quiet. Know what? About Heather. About the beach trip. Ryan. More silence. Then a sigh. Mark. I didn't know everything. Just rumors. Stuff Maddie said in passing. Heather's been different. But I didn't want to be the guy to stir the pot without proof. You should have stirred the whole damn pot, Jason. He didn't argue. He just said, I'm coming to you. Where are you? I'm still at Ocean Pines. Stay there. I'll be there by evening. I hung up. The rage was boiling under my skin, but now it had direction. Now I had a reason to stay. A reason to act. I booked a cheap room at a motel down the road. No AC. No view. But it gave me time to plan. To think. That evening, Jason arrived. We sat on the balcony with plastic cups of whiskey and silence stretching between us like an old scar. Finally, he asked, So, what now? I'm going to talk to the kids, I said. Face to face. No lies. No filters. You think they'll listen? I raised them. They deserve the truth. Whether they like it or not. Jason nodded slowly. And her? I looked at him. She gets nothing, I said. No control. No comfort. No more lies. This time, the truth burns everything she built. He nodded again. And then I added, but first, I'm going to make her squirm. Because the thing about Heather, she didn't fear pain. She feared exposure. The image. The gossip. The whispers behind her back. And I was about to turn that beach resort into ground zero. I smiled for the first time that day. Tomorrow, I said, we're crashing her little paradise. The next morning, I woke up before the sun. Didn't sleep much anyway, too many thoughts, too many images I couldn't erase. Her laugh. That red dress. My son high-fiving the man who took my place like it was some kind of game. Jason was already up. He handed me a cup of cheap motel coffee and raised an eyebrow. You sure about this? I nodded. I'm not letting her rewrite the story. We drove back to the resort just as the guests were gathering for breakfast on the open terrace. Families in flip-flops, couples in sunglasses, and there she was, seated at the center of it all like she was the queen of some beachside kingdom. My kingdom. Heather. My wife. Laughing with her mother, holding a mimosa like the world belonged to her. And there was Ryan again, arms slung around Tyler like they were frat brothers. I scanned the table. Maddie wasn't there. Probably still asleep. I handed Jason my phone and pointed. Start recording. He didn't ask questions. Just hit the button and followed me. I walked straight toward the table. Nobody noticed at first. Then one head turned. Then another. Then Heather's eyes locked on mine, and that smug little smile disappeared from her face like someone wiped it off with a rag. Oh God, she whispered, standing up. Good morning, I said, voice steady. Happy birthday to me again. The table fell silent. Forks hovered. I started. Ryan cleared his throat like he was trying to make himself bigger. I ignored him. Heather, I continued, since you didn't get a chance to tell the truth yesterday, I figured I'd help you out. She stepped toward me, fake smile plastered on. Mark, let's not do this here. No, I said. Let's do exactly this here. Then I turned to the table, to her mother, her father, even Tyler. Did any of you think it was strange that Heather took a family vacation on my birthday and left me sitting in an empty house? Or did you all just decide I didn't matter anymore? Her mother tried to speak, but I raised a hand. Don't. I'm not here for excuses. I'm here for the truth. Then I turned to Tyler. Son, I want to ask you something. And I want you to be honest. When did you meet him? Tyler looked uncomfortable. He glanced at Ryan, then at his mom. About a month ago, he said quietly. He was just around. Mom said he was helping her with some gym stuff. I thought. I didn't know. You didn't know he was screwing your mother behind your father's back? Mark. Heather snapped. I ignored her. Did you think it was weird she started locking her phone? That she stopped coming to your school events, Maddie's recitals, our Friday dinners? Tyler looked down. His ears were red. I just thought, you guys were fighting again. I nodded slowly, then turned back to Heather. Well done. You managed to fool everyone, including me. Until yesterday. Mark, this isn't the place. No, it's perfect. This is exactly the place. Because you weren't just lying to me, Heather. You were lying to your own children, to your parents. You paraded your boyfriend around like I died. Ryan stood up. Okay, buddy, I think you need to back off. I turned to him. Don't call me buddy. You're just a placeholder with abs. Heather grabbed his arm. Let's just go, Ryan. No, I said. You don't get to run. Not anymore. I pulled my phone from my pocket and played the last voice note she'd sent me. Her panicked voice, pleading. I didn't mean for it to get this far. Her guilt, her fear, on full display. People at other tables had started watching. Whispering. Phones were coming out. Heather's mother looked horrified. You brought him here while lying to your husband? She whispered to her daughter. I didn't think he'd come. Heather hissed. And there it was. The truth. She never expected me to show up. She thought I'd just sit in my empty house and fade away. But I didn't. I came. And now she had to wear the truth in front of everyone she cared about. I looked at Tyler again, then at her father, then back at Heather. I'm filing for divorce today, I said. You can have your gym toy, but you'll never rewrite what you did to this family. Then I turned and walked away. Jason followed, still filming. And the last thing I heard behind me was Heather yelling, not out of regret, but because the mask was gone. And she had no idea what to do without it. We didn't talk much in the car. Jason drove. I stared out the window, watching palm trees flicker by like static. The adrenaline from the confrontation was still burning in my chest, but now it was mixing with something heavier, something I didn't want to name. It wasn't just Heather who betrayed me. It was the feeling that the people I loved most were all somehow okay with pretending I didn't exist, that my presence in their lives had become optional. I needed answers. And one of them was still asleep in room 308. Maddie, my daughter, 17, brilliant, stubborn, sensitive. We shared a bond one thought was unbreakable. Late-night car rides with music blasting. Talks about college. Her crying into my chest after a breakup. Me walking into the kitchen with pancakes just to make her smile. And yet, when Heather left, Maddie followed. No questions. No hesitation. So before we left that hellhole resort, I walked up the stairs alone and knocked on her door. It opened a crack. Her voice was small. Dad? I nodded. Can I come in? She stepped aside, I still puffy from sleep. Inside, the room was a mess of beach towels, makeup bags, and clothes. Her suitcase was still open. A box of fancy perfume I didn't buy sat on the dresser. Mom's not here, she said quickly. I know. I'm not here for her. She sat on the bed, hugging a pillow. Her hair was tied back in a messy bun, the same way Heather used to wear hers when we first met. I took a seat across from her. Neither of us spoke for a few seconds. Then I asked, did you know? She flinched. About Ryan? I nodded. No, she said, eyes starting to water. Not like that. I figured something was weird. She was always texting. She'd disappear for hours and come back smelling like men's cologne. But I didn't think it was this. Why didn't you ask me anything? She looked down. Because Mom said you were distant, that you were going through something, that you didn't want to celebrate. She made it sound like it would just stress you out. I swallowed hard. And you believed her. She didn't answer. I get it, I said quietly. She's your mom. You trust her. I did too, once. Maddie's eyes brimmed with tears. I'm sorry, Dad, she whispered. I should have known. I should have said something. No, I replied. You're a kid. This wasn't your lie to carry. She nodded, but the guilt was already etched on her face. I stood and walked over to her. Sat beside her. I'm not mad at you, I said. But I need you to understand something. She looked up. This isn't just about cheating. Your mom didn't just make a mistake, she planned this. Lied to me, lied to you, and Tyler. She manipulated everything to make this about her needs. Maddie was crying now. She said you didn't love her anymore, she mumbled. That you worked too much. That you didn't see her. I let out a long breath. I worked for this family. I paid for this trip she used to betray me. I bent over backwards trying to hold it all together. But yeah, maybe I stopped seeing her the way she wanted to be seen. You know why? She shook her head. Because every time I looked at her, all I saw was someone slipping away, and I was too damn scared to admit it. Maddie put her head on my shoulder, and for a moment, the pain cracked into something softer. Something like warmth. I'm gonna stay with you, she whispered. After all this. I don't care what she says. I want to stay with you. Tears burned behind my eyes, but I forced them back. You'll always have a home with me, I said. Always. We sat there for a long time. Just father and daughter. No resort. No lies. No red dresses or fake smiles. Just truth. Later that afternoon, Tyler called me. Dad, I want to talk. And for the first time in days, I felt like maybe I wasn't the one who lost everything. Maybe Heather did. Because she didn't just break a marriage. She cracked the foundation of her own damn family. I met Tyler at a gas station just outside the resort. He was leaning against his car, arms folded, wearing a baseball cap pulled low over his face. He looked older than 22 in that moment, not in a mature way, but in the way trauma ages you from the inside. His jaw was tense, his eyes rimmed red. I parked beside him and got out. No handshake. No hug. Just silence stretching between us like a fresh wound. I didn't know, he said, voice flat. I nodded. I know. He glanced away, then back at me. But I didn't ask, either. That's on me. I could have yelled. I could have told him how deep it cut seeing him smiling beside the man who took my place, seeing him choose to be part of that world like I never mattered. But I didn't. Because I saw it now. He wasn't okay. He was lost in it too. Talk to me, I said. Tell me everything. Tyler let out a shaky breath. It started a few months ago. She said she hired Ryan to help her get in shape. I thought it was weird, sure. But she told us it made her feel confident again. I figured it was some midlife crisis thing. I didn't know it was that serious. You didn't think it was strange she planned a vacation and left me behind? She told us you were mad. Said you didn't want to come. That you'd rather spend the weekend sulking alone, her words, not mine. I clenched my jaw. She said you were checked out, he continued. That the trip was just her way of keeping things normal. I shook my head slowly. Son, I was the only one not being told anything. And it wasn't because I was distant. It was because she needed you to see me that way, so she could rewrite the story. Tyler rubbed his face. I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't realize how much of it was fake. How much she'd been everything. I stepped closer. Listen, you don't owe me blind loyalty. I know you love your mom. But I need to know you see this for what it is. Because if you don't, she'll keep twisting the truth. He nodded, slowly at first, then with more force. I see it, he said. I do now. I can't believe I didn't sooner. I sighed. I don't expect you to pick sides. But I need boundaries. She crossed a line, and I'm not pretending that didn't happen. He looked away for a moment, then said, What happens now? Divorce. Clean break. I'm going to rebuild for me. For Maddie. And for you, if you want to be part of it. He gave a sad smile. I do. It wasn't some tearful reunion. No music swelled, no hugs in slow motion. But it was honest. Real. And after days of betrayal, that was enough. We drove back toward the motel where Jason and Maddie were waiting. As we pulled in, I saw my daughter sitting on the curb with my brother, laughing at something he said. Just for a moment, I saw a flicker of light in all this mess. Like maybe, just maybe, I hadn't lost everything. Heather had tried to erase me from the trip, from the family, from the narrative. But she underestimated one thing. You can only fake happiness for so long. Eventually, the truth kicks down the door. Later that night, I got a call from a blocked number. I almost didn't answer. But something told me to. Mark, Heather's voice came through, thick with nerves. What do you want? I wanted to say I didn't mean for it to get this far. I almost laughed. You keep saying that. But you planned this. You packed bags, made bookings, invited him. You meant for it to happen. You just didn't mean for me to find out. Silence. Then she said, They're turning on me. Who? Your parents? The kids. They think I went too far. They're not talking to me the same way. I let that hang in the air. Actions have consequences, Heather. Another pause. Then the words I'd been waiting for. Do you think there's any way back from this? I took a deep breath and looked around the motel room, at Maddie asleep on the bed, Jason reading a magazine, Tyler on the floor messaging friends like nothing had happened. And I said, For me? No. But for you, maybe. If you start telling the truth. I hung up. And just like that, the chapter closed. Not with vengeance. Not with fire. But with clarity. A week passed. It's strange how quickly life tries to pretend nothing happened. The world keeps spinning. Bills still show up. Work emails don't stop. The coffee machine still sputters like it always does. But me? I wasn't the same man who had walked into that empty house on his birthday. I had become someone else. Sharper. Colder. Wiser. I filed for divorce that Monday. My lawyer, an old friend named Curtis, didn't even flinch when I laid out the situation. He just nodded slowly and said, Let her lawyer play defense. This is going to be fast and clean. And for once, I believed it. I moved back into the house after having the locks changed. Heather hadn't been home since that day at the resort. She'd been staying with a friend, or maybe with Ryan. I didn't ask. I didn't care. She left some of her clothes behind. Her favorite mug. One of her perfumes. I packed them into a single box and dropped it at her mother's place. No note. Just silence. That was louder than anything I could have written. Tyler came by the next day. We sat in the garage like we used to when he was a teenager, open door, 2 chairs, a 6-pack, and no pressure to speak. He looked around and let out a small laugh. Feels weird without Mom's music blasting. She used to love the jazz station. Now it gives me a headache, he muttered. I handed him a beer and looked him in the eyes. You know this doesn't change how I see you, right? He nodded. I know. Still feel like I let you down, though. You didn't betray me, Ty. You just trusted someone who manipulated the story. There's a difference. We didn't say much after that. But we didn't need to. Sometimes healing comes in the quiet. Maddie had already claimed the guest room. She decorated it with string lights, posters, and a "No Drama Allowed" sign taped to the door. Every night, we'd eat dinner together. Simple things. Spaghetti, tacos, pizza. No forced conversations. No judgment. Just a father and daughter learning how to breathe again. The hardest part wasn't the betrayal. It was unlearning the habit of wondering what Heather would think. I'd walk into a store and instinctively reach for her brand of coffee. I'd hear a joke and think she'd laugh at that, before remembering she's no longer part of the picture. She still called. Not often. Just enough to keep her presence known. Most of the time, I let it go to voicemail. But one evening, curiosity won. Hi, she said softly. I just wanted to know how the kids are doing. They're fine, I replied. We're managing. Silence. I miss them, she whispered. I didn't respond. Then she said, You probably hate me. I don't, I said. I pity you. She gasped, as if that was worse. You had everything, Heather. You had people who loved you, even when you didn't deserve it. And you threw it away for a fling with someone who probably thinks long-term commitment is 2 weeks without Tinder. That's not fair. No. What wasn't fair was me eating cold takeout alone on my birthday while you posed for beach selfies with my children and your boyfriend. She didn't say anything. I ended the call. I realized then I didn't need revenge. I didn't need her to suffer. She was already living in the prison of her choices. And she had to wake up to that every single day. I wasn't the broken man anymore. I was the man who survived. I was the man who built again. A few days later, I sat at the kitchen table with Maddie, going over college applications. She looked up and said, You seem different lately. Better or worse? She smiled. Stronger. I smiled back. I still had scars. Some fresh. Some deep. But I also had peace. And sometimes, that's the best kind of victory. The divorce finalized on a rainy Wednesday. There was no courtroom drama. No shouting or last-minute pleas. Just signatures. Cold, dry signatures. Heather wasn't even there. She had her lawyer handle everything. I didn't ask where she was. I already knew. Somewhere with Ryan. Somewhere trying to glue together the mess she'd made and pretending it still looked like a life. I walked out of the courthouse and sat in my truck for a long time. No music. No noise. Just the sound of rain tapping the windshield like a metronome keeping time with the ache in my chest. Not pain. Not anymore. Just wait. Finality has its own kind of silence, not the silence of absence, but the silence of acceptance. This was real. It happened. And it was over. That night, I didn't go home right away. I drove to the edge of town, to the place where Heather and I had first kissed. It was stupid, maybe, but I needed to see it one last time, the old version of us, or at least the ghost of it. It was a small overlook above the lake, hidden behind a row of trees. We'd come there in our 20s, drunk on cheap wine and young love. We'd laughed here, fought here, promised forever here. And now? Now it was just a place. No magic. No meaning. I got out, stood in the rain, and whispered one word into the wind. Goodbye. It wasn't for her. It was for me. Letting go isn't one big dramatic moment. It's 100 tiny ones stacked on top of each other, choosing not to check her social media, not to answer her calls, not to wonder what could have been. I had new things to wonder about now, like what Maddie wanted to study in college, like where Tyler would land his first job, like whether or not I'd ever fall in love again, real love. The kind that builds, not destroys. Heather did reach out again a month later. She asked if we could have coffee sometime. Said she wanted to apologize properly. I didn't say no. I just didn't say anything at all. Because I didn't need the apology anymore. The apology I needed was from myself. for staying too long, for ignoring the signs, for shrinking into a version of myself just to keep someone else comfortable. I stood in that reflection too long, but I walked out of it. Finally, Jason called that same evening. "You free Saturday?" "For what?" "Fishing trip. You, me, Tyler, and some peace and quiet. No drama, no beach resorts, no red dresses." I laughed. For the first time in a while, it wasn't hollow. Count me in. And that was the start of something new, not a second act, not a reinvention. Just life. On my terms. Sometimes Maddie would ask, "Do you miss her?" And I'd always tell the truth. No, I miss who I thought she was, but not who she became. Because the truth is, Heather wasn't taken from me. She left herself behind. And what she became, manipulative, selfish, cruel, that wasn't the woman I fell in love with. That was someone else entirely. So no, I don't miss her. I miss the idea of love that lasts. But I believe in it again. Because I've seen what love isn't. I still have bad nights. Still wake up reaching for someone who isn't there. But I also wake up knowing I didn't stay broken. I healed. On my own. With my kids. With truth. With time. If someone reading this is going through it, if you're staring at the same cracked picture I stared at, here's my advice. Don't chase ghosts. Don't beg for clarity from people who benefit from your confusion. And don't let someone who broke you be the one who defines your worth. Walk away. Even if it's slow. Even if your knees shake. Because someday you'll thank yourself for it. I know I did.